Audie Murphy revealed the 9 Golden Age stars who were actually evil. He was America's most decorated World War II combat soldier, a warrior who single-handedly held off 6 German tanks and 250 infantry, a humble farm boy from Texas who killed or wounded 240 enemy soldiers and earned every medal for valor his country could bestow, including the Medal of Honor. When Audie Murphy came to Hollywood, studios saw a handsome young hero they could transform into a movie star. What they didn't expect was his unflinching moral code and ability to see through the artificial glamour of Tinseltown to the darkness beneath. Audie faced death countless times in Europe, revealed a former MGM producer who worked with Murphy in the 1950s. He knew real courage, real evil, and real character. The fake personas of Hollywood couldn't fool him. He saw right through them. According to those who knew him well, Murphy maintained a mental list of Hollywood stars whose public images were complete fabrications. Actors and actresses who presented themselves as heroes, patriots, or moral exemplars while privately engaging in behavior Murphy found genuinely evil. Tonight, we reveal the 9 Golden Age stars who Audie Murphy, America's greatest real-life hero, reportedly exposed as villains far more dangerous than the ones he faced on screen. But first, we need to understand why Murphy, a reluctant celebrity who struggled with his own demons, was uniquely positioned to recognize the darkness behind Hollywood's most beloved faces. The real hero in a land of pretenders. Audie Murphy arrived in Hollywood in 1945 as the most decorated American soldier of World War II. Unlike the actors who played war heroes on screen, Murphy had lived through hell, witnessing the deaths of countless friends, killing enemy soldiers at close range, and performing acts of almost unbelievable courage under fire. "I knew what real bravery looked like," explained a veteran who served with Murphy and later visited him in Hollywood. He'd seen men sacrifice themselves for their buddies. He'd also seen cowards who talked tough but ran when the bullets started flying. That experience gave him a sixth sense about phonies. Murphy's own transition to civilian life was far from smooth. He suffered from what we now recognize as severe PTSD, experiencing nightmares, sleeping with a gun under his pillow, and battling addiction to sleeping pills. These struggles gave him insight into human frailty and a deep empathy for those facing genuine challenges. What he couldn't abide, according to those who knew him, was the hypocrisy of stars who crafted public images completely at odds with their private behavior. Audie didn't expect people to be perfect, noted his longtime friend and fellow veteran. He just expected them to be honest. The stars who made his list weren't there because they had flaws. We all have those. They made the list because they were living lies. You know, it's a kind word in a hard, cruel world. News have just come through from Hollywood that you've been nominated for an Academy Award. Yes, isn't that something? 1. Errol Flynn, the swashbuckling star with Nazi sympathies. Errol Flynn embodies swashbuckling heroism on screen, playing characters who fought for justice and defended the innocent in films like Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood. According to Murphy's private assessments, Flynn's real character couldn't have been further from these heroic roles. Rumors of Nazi sympathies, relationships with underage girls, and assault allegations dogged Flynn throughout his career, explained a former studio publicist. Most fans never knew, but industry insiders, including Murphy, were well aware of the disturbing realities behind Flynn's charming facade. Flynn's suspected Nazi sympathies particularly disturbed Murphy, who had witnessed firsthand the horrors perpetrated by the Third Reich. According to multiple sources, Flynn expressed admiration for Hitler and fascist ideology during the 1930s and even allegedly attempted to meet with Nez during a European trip before America entered the war. Audie allegedly refused to appear at the same veteran events as Flynn revealed a former USO coordinator. He told organizers, "I didn't fight in Europe to come home and shake hands with their admirers." Flynn's personal life was equally troubling. In 1942, he was tried for the statutory assault of 2 underage girls. And while he was ultimately acquitted, the trial revealed patterns of predatory behavior toward young women. Throughout his career, Flynn faced multiple allegations of sexual assault and misconduct that studios worked diligently to suppress. Audie said Flynn could act like a patriot, but couldn't pass the smell test of a real one, recalled a fellow actor who worked with both men. Murphy believed true character revealed itself in private moments, not public performances. By that measure, he found Flynn contemptible. What made Flynn particularly offensive to Murphy was the stark contrast between his heroic screen persona and his deeply problematic private behavior. As someone who understood the true meaning of courage and sacrifice, Murphy reportedly felt Flynn's portrayal of heroic characters represented a form of stolen valor, appropriating the mantle of heroism while embodying none of its genuine qualities. Murphy's assessment of Flynn seems to have been validated by history. Flynn's reputation has continued to deteriorate as more details of his private life have emerged, revealing a man whose charm masked a disturbing blend of predatory behavior, political extremism, and moral bankruptcy. Well, from my standpoint, he should be remembered as one of the finest human beings I ever knew in my life. And of course, multi-talented. He was a wonderful, wonderful boy. What to Frank Sinatra, the voice with mob connections? Frank Sinatra was America's most beloved singer, the smooth-voiced crooner who made women swoon and dominated popular culture for decades. Behind the sophisticated image and undeniable talent, however, Murphy allegedly recognized something far more sinister. A man whose ties to organized crime and willingness to use violence and intimidation revealed a character at odds with his carefully crafted public persona. Ties to organized crime allegedly threatened journalists, sabotaged careers, and bought silence, noted a former Hollywood columnist who claimed knowledge of Sinatra's darker activities. Murphy served with men of genuine loyalty and honor. He saw Sinatra's version as a corrupt perversion of those values. Sinatra's connections to organized crime figures like Sam Gianna, Lucky Luciano, and Carlo Gambino were an open secret in Hollywood, but carefully hidden from the general public. These weren't merely casual associations. According to multiple accounts, Sinatra served as an intermediary between the mob and Hollywood, helped launder money through casino investments, and leveraged these connections to advance his career and intimidate rivals. Murphy respected loyalty, but not when it came in a tailored suit with blood on the cuffs, said a former fellow actor who knew both men. Audie saw how Sinatra used fear to control people. That wasn't the leadership he respected from the battlefield. Particularly troubling to Murphy were reports of Sinatra's treatment of journalists and critics who dared to cross him. Multiple reporters who wrote unflattering stories about Sinatra allegedly faced threats, property damage, or physical intimidation. In one notorious incident, columnist Lee Mortimer claimed he was physically attacked by Sinatra and his entourage after writing critically about the singer. Sinatra's volatile temper and willingness to use connections to destroy careers also reportedly disturbed Murphy. Various accounts describe Sinatra blacklisting performers who offended him, pressuring venues not to book his enemies, and using his influence with studio executives to block projects involving those who had crossed him. For someone like Murphy, who had seen real violence and its consequences, Sinatra's casual wielding of threat and intimidation seemed especially reprehensible, explained a Hollywood historian. It wasn't just that Sinatra had mob ties. It was that he embraced their methods and mentality while presenting himself as an American icon. The contrast between Sinatra's public image as a sophisticated entertainer and patriotic American and his private behavior reportedly struck Murphy as a particularly dangerous form of deception. While audiences saw the charming performer singing about love and loyalty, Murphy allegedly recognized a man whose understanding of those concepts had been corrupted by power and ambition. The things we have to accomplish. I'm going to tell them that the wealthiest nation in the world is a failure, unless it's also the healthiest nation in the world. 3. Spencer Tracy, the beloved star with a dark side. Spencer Tracy projected an image of solid decency in films like Boys Town and Judgment at Nuremberg. His long relationship with Katharine Hepburn has been romanticized as one of Hollywood's great love stories. According to Murphy's private observations, the real Tracy was a troubled, often cruel man whose alcoholism fueled abusive behavior that few fans ever glimpsed. Known for violent alcoholism and abusive behavior behind the scenes, revealed a former studio employee who worked on several Tracy films. Murphy, who struggled with his own demons after the war, had compassion for addiction, but not for how Tracy treated others during his worst episodes. Tracy's alcoholism was well documented, but carefully managed by studios to protect his wholesome image. According to numerous accounts, his drinking binges could last for days and frequently resulted in verbal and sometimes physical abuse toward those around him. Sets would sometimes shut down for days while Tracy recovered from drinking episodes costing studios enormous